All right. Live on Facebook, Ivy Angela Rivera, Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium, and we are live on YouTube. So welcome, everybody. Going to give this a second to let people tune in. If you guys could give me a thumbs up, let me know that my mic is working and that you can hear me and see me. All right, that would be super helpful before we go ahead and get into it. Looks like my face is covered on Instagram. I haven't done Instagram in a million years. So if that's how it is and like my face is going to be cut off by the comments, so be it. I'm not going to mess with it. It was hard enough to get this set up. So I apologize for that. I'll try to fix it next time and maybe angle it different. But if you can't see me on Instagram, at least you can hear me. That's the only really important part. All right. So welcome. Looks like I'm getting some thumbs up here that you guys can hear me and see me all right. Especially from TikTok. That looks good. Looks good here on Facebook as well as YouTube. Excellent. So I'm happy to be back with you guys. I did take a couple weeks off because my internet kept going in and out, and then my mic died, and then a cat, I won't mention names, Jesus, spilled water all over my computer. It was like one thing after another. It was in my astrology that I was going to have to cough up a mass amount of cash on technology, and it totally happened. So I think this is actually working pretty well. I had the cable guy here. We reconnected my modem. I got a new mic. I've got a new everything. And so this is like crystal clear on my end, at least. So, let me know if things are looking better. Yeah, so I took a couple weeks off just to make sure it was perfect before we spend any more energy on this. So welcome, you guys. This is my bi-weekly Ask Ivy show where I take your personal questions and I deliver messages from Spirit. You guys can get the short answer for $5, the long answer for $10. And if you go to the description above or below, depending on where you're tuning in, you could see the link to the Cash App, the Venmo, the PayPal, whatever that is. I do want to encourage you guys to post your questions there instead of hauling all the way over to YouTube at Ask Ivy and posting it in the comments. You could do that, but Mairead, my beautiful producer, is looking for your actual questions wherever you made the payment. Okay, so you go in Cash App, you make a payment, drop the question there. Include names of anyone that you're referring to, living or deceased. It does speed up the process for me. All right, and we will go ahead and get into this. I do want to say, if you guys need to book a reading with me, or if you do just even have like one question, I don't get to it today, you can go to my website, ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com, and you could use the self-booking system to get your reading set up. And if you just have like one question, you could do an email read at any time. You can also, if you're in a part of the world where my time clock, my schedule is not really matching up with yours, great, do a video reading. Okay, I will send you a personalized video reading. You can ask your questions and everything. So check that out. All right, Mairead, if we are ready to go, you could pop up the first question. If everybody could, please give this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment of any kind. It helps me out in the algorithm. Greatly appreciated. Try to ignore the cats the best you can today. I'm sure they'll put on a good show for you guys. And if you want to hit that subscribe button, if you're over here on YouTube at Ask Ivy, please do so. It helps me out a lot. And hit the join button to see the 3 different tiers of memberships. You can get like monthly horoscopes. You get every month you get an email question. I do weekly spirit messages, and I now have Patreon. So if you're not into the YouTube thing, you can go over to Patreon on my website, okay, and join in on that. Monthly free mini classes, an exclusive Ask Ivy show where you don't pay anything, and I take your questions there. We've got all kinds of stuff going on for the membership. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So we've got Carrie Watson asks a $10 question. And she wants to know, hey, Ivy, I'm in line for a supervisory position in my coding department. If I'm selected, is it more trouble than it's worth? Spirit advice, please. Thank you. Is this position for her more trouble than it's worth if she's chosen? First of all, I feel like you probably will be chosen. I can't give a 100% guarantee, but there's like maybe like a very small chance that you're not, okay, going to be chosen, like 20 to maybe 30%. This relies on one person, and that seems to be mostly a male who talks a little bit too much but doesn't really listen. And he may be talking to a female who talks, too much but also listens, a little overweight. And it looks like, if that happens, then it would not necessarily go your way. I think, though, it probably will. And so if we get onto the second part of this question, will it be more trouble than it's worth? I don't think so. I mean, I feel like you wanted this. I feel like you applied for this, or I feel like you asked for this. I'm under the impression that this is something you saw as beneficial. I think that while they see it as beneficial for them, like for the company, they see bringing you in, okay, as a perk for them. It's not necessarily because they're going to like grind you into the dirt, because they're going to like work you, into a pulp. I think it's more about the skill set that you bring and the fact that there's a lot of disorganization there. There's a lack of coordination. There's a lack of communication. There are a lot of communication problems where you work. And, these people seem to be well aware of it, but they don't improve upon themselves. It's like when you decide to get into a relationship with somebody, or you've got a family member that you have to deal with all the time, you're deciding to be involved with this person. But even though they know there are repeat problems with the communication, they just never really do anything about it. And to them, it's not worth their time. It's not worth their effort. And I think this. And what that says about the work environment itself is that you don't want to be there for very long. And I think that's a right judgment, being that it is a drain for you in a lot of different ways. But the position itself is not a problematic position. And so I would say go ahead, take it. I would say jump in. I would say that it's important to your work and money guide is saying, roll up your sleeves, get dirty, use it as leverage, get your name out there, get these tools in your toolkit, and be able to say in the future, on your updated resume, what have you, this is, another thing I was promoted for. Absolutely. All right. Good luck with all that. We are going to move on to another one here. From a Caitlyn C. Okay, Caitlyn C has a $10 question. And she wants to know, hi, Ivy, sent through Venmo. I'm in search of a new job with no luck so far. Is the job where I'm supposed to be coming soon? Any advice on a field I should focus on? That's appreciated. Okay, hopefully I don't shut my whole screen down here. So I'm feeling like the first thing to understand about this is that there is no sort of perfect job for you right now. I'm actually feeling anywhere from 3 to 6, 7, 8 different potential positions that you could take. What does that mean? That means that you're in a free will zone. Everyone says that they want free will until they have it. Okay. Once we have free will, we feel as though we're free falling. We feel like we have no net. We feel like there's no specific direction, and when you ask the universe for direction, they don't give you right or wrong, black or white, left or right. There's nothing coming through because it is up to you what you design. This is a period of time in your life with your career. You need to look at it like it's a blank canvas. Okay. And you're an artist. What do you want in there? I think of Bob Ross, he's like, I screwed up. I applied for the wrong job. Maybe I get a wrong position. Well, that's all right. I'm going to make it into a bird or a happy tree or a beautiful flower or whatever. It's like, you have to be willing to do that. And right now you're not. You're like, don't come with a curmudgeon-y sort of attitude, about it like you're a victim and you're at the mercy of the world. Whatever crumbs fall, I will take. That must be where I'm meant to be. Nope, not right now. So we need to take a closer look at your life contract, and we need to see, and you can book that with me at any time, but we need to see what it is that you're actually here to do. So when I look at your life contract, what I'm feeling is a great deal of team organization. Not necessarily product management or project management, but it could involve that as well. When you are in a position where you take different groups of people, Or you take a large, like mass amount of people and you divide them up into different groups. And then you organize and oversee those groups through your communication skills and your presentation skills. And you tell everybody what to do and you tell everything where to go. You excel, okay? Above and beyond the call of duty. And this is where your money is. This is where your calling is within your life contract. Big perk here for you is that you've done this in 3 previous past lives. When you've done something over and over and over again, normally I say to you, don't do it again. It's a skill because you've already done it. But in this case, you haven't even really gotten started. So you have to pick up where you left off. Okay. Then after that, you're going to be able to create something of your own. So let's say you wanted to be a consultant, or you wanted to be self-employed. You wanted to start your own business. You know, you wanted to, again, I hear like project management, you know, get into something bigger like that. Then you would be able to. So start with this and then move forward. Any field in particular, I think don't look at that. Okay. Don't think in terms of what specific fields can I fit into. Look more in terms of the work itself and cram yourself in those spots. Okay. All right, looks good. So good luck with all of that. Again, you guys can ask any kind of questions. If I didn't already say this at the beginning, psychic, mediumistic, paranormal, spiritual development. If you have a loved one on the other side you want to hear from, money, guidance on health, anything goes here. Love questions, okay, whatever. Just please do include names of whoever you're referring to. All right, we're going to move on to another one here from a Pris. This is a $5 question, and she wants to know, is it time for me to move on from my relationship? I feel that you already have, and I feel more importantly, don't take this, the wrong way. It's not more importantly, but the other person has. And the other person has moved on by doing nothing. And so when we're looking at someone who hasn't left and won't leave, but is doing nothing, they've moved on. They've moved on into a state of stagnancy that represents a complete lack of growth and lack of mindfulness and a lack of teamwork or partnership mentality in the relationship. And so that really tells you all you need to know. And when you are looking at somebody else, and this is for the rest of your life, right? We don't always want to be comparing people back, to who we were with in the future necessarily. But in this case, this is a great karmic lesson for you. So in the future, going forward with other people, you should compare their behavior back to this individual. And if you feel nothing, flatlining, stagnancy, or backward motion, or your energy being siphoned, or feeling as though you're in quicksand, okay, or you're a mouse on a wheel, you know automatically how you physically react to that. You know how you emotionally react to that. You know how you start overreaching and wanting more and becoming needy and thinking about the relationship too much, and you pull out quick, okay? So you don't spend this much time on it in the future. All right, so yes, it's time to move on. Good luck, Pris, with that. Thank you for your question. We have a question coming in here from a Megan Denarden. This is a $10 question. Okay. I'm due to give birth to my son, Daniel, any day now. Are my guides giving you any indication when he may come? And will my daughter be okay with my in-laws during that time? It's been giving me anxiety. Well, the first thing I'm getting is 39, and I know that's not like a real date. But that's 39 weeks. Okay, hold on a second here. Okay, the 29th. Or where are we? What is today? I don't even know what's going on. This is gonna be a little tricky. I keep getting a 3 in here also. All right, I think what we're probably looking at is the 29th or the 30th. But I would also say possibly the 23rd. Now, congratulations. All right. First of all, are your guides giving any indication? Well, that's not coming from your guides. That's coming from the baby. So the guides aren't going to be able to do anything about this. The guides aren't going to be able to help. What you want to do is talk directly to the baby, and you want to say, when are you planning on doing this? And, then you want to sort of jump into the baby's energy, and you want to say, all right, the baby says on the 23rd. That's great. But once the process gets started, is the baby going to kind of back out? Is the baby going to lay low? Is the baby going to be like, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't know what I signed up for here, but this is not the party I was planning on attending, then we could see a little bit of a lag in things. So ultimately what I'm saying is that it's up to the kid's free will. It was up to your free will and it's up to your child's free will. But yeah, I would say around that time. So whatever the next 3 date is, because I'm really not even sure what the heck today is. It could be that or the 9th. Okay. So could also be the 29th, possibly. Now, what I'm feeling with your daughter is that she's going to be fine. She's fairly oblivious. I think that if someone's willing to play with your daughter, if someone's willing to, like, whether it's a board game or it's playing with like toys or, it's like a video game or dolls or whatever. I mean, just even like verbally engaging with her, she really likes creative play. She really likes using her imagination, and she enjoys things also like putting on a show, so whether this is like making TikToks or this is like a dance video or this is like, I don't know what, video games, you dance or whatever. I think that anything that's interactive like that is really going to go very far. And I feel like that's something they want to do with her. Okay. So beyond that, she doesn't really care about anything else. I do think they're a little bit different than the way you handle things. That could be with food and maybe hygiene and some other things, but just reinforce the rules. You know what I do when I leave for an extended period of time for like my cats? I have a list, and it's like, this is for this cat and this is for this cat and this is specifically what they need. And then I check every day and I'm like, did this get done? Just revert back to the list, go back to the list, so put up something, not too many somethings, but like one something, one list that can assist with reminders of how things should be done, because that's what's best for the kid's stability. All right. Good luck with all of that and many blessings on the baby. All right, we are going to move on to an Edgar. This is a $15 question. So this is a $5 donation. Thank you so much, Edgar. So this is a $10 question. Okay, so Edgar wants to know, hi, Ivy, what's the next big change in my life for this year? Thank you. Well, I feel a couple different things. I feel some residency stuff, some work stuff, but mostly what I'm feeling I'm supposed to point out for you is a relationship. And so, with this relationship, there seems to be a lot of dialogue that's been missing from previous relationships. And I want to say that and I'm not calling you out, but I am. If you have a way of being very, a little walled off, right? Or it reminds me of maybe you have in your chart somewhere like Capricorn or Virgo energy or something that's just a little bit, unavailable. You seem to have a defense mechanism up, and I understand where it came from. I understand why it's there. And I understand how it's useful for you. But it's not going to be in this case. If you start rubbing this person the wrong way, who is genuinely coming with the highest and best intentions to build a connection with you, to level up in intimacy, to create a future together, potentially. Okay. If you keep that wall up and you keep that prickly attitude, whenever they say something or do something that doesn't, that triggers you a little bit, we're gonna watch this implode real quick. Because there's, with this person, a sort of no nonsense attitude toward that type of thing. This is not an individual who's going to keep knocking on the door and waiting around and hoping you call and, oh, well, I'm going to just overreach a little bit and I'm going to modify the way that I behave or think or talk or share because he doesn't like that. Nope. She's going to come right at you. She's going to come at you as her. And she isn't afraid to do that because she has pure intentions. So you're going to have to be challenged in areas where you have your walls up and you really shouldn't with everybody. All right. This may affect you in the ego. Okay. Fear, manipulation, and control. This may affect you in the area of self-esteem. And this may affect you in your organization. So again, when I mention like Capricorn or Virgo, or it kind of, and I can't prescribe or diagnose, but as someone who has OCD, I was diagnosed when I was 5. I almost recognize this in people as being OCD like tendencies. Okay. So having to have everything a certain way. And when someone rubs me the wrong way, or I think they're going to mess up the order of things, this is how I've always done things. I have to retrain myself quickly to catch that I'm doing that I'm having a reflex reaction, and I'm not being mindful and engaging. This is an opportunity with this relationship to spend time with this person long term. This could end up being a committed, partnership where you guys become monogamous. I don't know that I see cohabitation and all that just yet. It's going to depend on how we get through that first pivotal point. And that first pivotal point, and that's going to hit about 3 months into the relationship, is going to be exactly what I said. Skeletons in the closet, unfinished business, stuff swept under the carpet, things put up on a shelf collecting dust, coming to a head. And it's not her, it's you. Okay, so just remember, you don't have to have your back up with everybody. All right, it's an opportunity to learn. Very interesting. So I would focus there. All right, thank you, Edgar, for that, as well as the donation. We're going to move on to a Pam Harris. This is a $10 question. 9. Okay. So Pam wants to know, I've been talking to a man named Mike. Okay, what do you think? How we'll end up, Mike? What do we think about Mike? Mike seems to have a brick wall in his throat chakra, and he's like an owl. Like owls don't move, they move their body, but they don't like move their eyes, right? Something going on with him from way back, like in his 20s, has got him stuck. He's just very like a solid brick. And when we have these two things going on, let's say the throat chakra, which breaks down, okay, 2 different ways. Number 1, he isn't speaking his truth, or number 2, when he does, he's not typically heard. It's disregarded, disrespected, it's not received, but he doesn't do anything about it. It just builds and builds and builds in the throat. People with this could also have, and I can't prescribe diagnose, but thyroid issues, sinus problems, constant swollen glands, allergic reactions, GERD, okay, anything that can go on, headaches, anything that can go on through here. And so he hasn't resolved some of those issues that really set in for him when he was in his 20s. And it's like you come in and you stir some of these things up, but not necessarily enough that he would identify that as an opportunity for change and growth. We'll see. You could feel that you're frustrated with that, that he's not saying things in regards to what he's thinking or what he's feeling. While he may know to say enough about the relationship or about you to sort of keep you there, it only is surface deep. It doesn't go any deeper than that. Like, yeah, I know you like me. That's why we're here. Yeah, I know you think I'm attractive. That's why we're here. Like I'm aware of that, but what else? What else? And so if there is no what else, it's either because he hasn't developed anything else or because it's hidden and blocked up in this, chakra. So that's what you're going to need to figure out. How do you feel about that? Because ultimately it doesn't matter which it is. If it's not coming out, you don't have anything to work with, So that's an area he needs to work on. The idea of him being like an owl, not, incapable or choosing not to move his eyeballs, means that he sees in tunnel vision, blocked thinking. He may have very, a mentality of like, this is how it's always done. This is what I'm willing to give. This is how far into things I'm willing to be, with people. And he would do this with lovers. He would do this with family. He would do this with friends. He only goes in so deep so that there's never really a lot of intimacy there. And, the two are connected. So what does that mean? That means that you need to see whether or not he's going to sort of break free from some of that, or this is something that's going to get to be a bit of a yawn for you, But we'll see. We'll see what he does. He's still in a free will zone with that. As long as we're alive, we're in a free will zone. So it's possible. I would be open about the communication and I would nail those problems specifically. Some people don't like that, but if you could point out exactly what's going on and exactly what the solutions are, and then pull your attention off of it and don't try to force it in any way, I think you've done everybody a big favor. Life's short. All right, let's move on to another one from a Nigeria love. This is a $5. And she wants to know, hi, Ivy, sent this through Venmo. Why do I have nightmares every night? Well, I would need to know more about the nightmares. I mean, this is super vague. But I can tell you that there's a dreams class up on my website where I break down astral travel, subconscious dreaming, which I do feel is going on with you. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Prophetic dreaming, I lucid, okay, I break down visit dreams from spirits. I break down all of that in the class. You may want to check it out, especially if you're having different types of nightmares. What I'm feeling with you intuitively, though, is that you're going through a lot of stress. I feel like you're holding on to things and looking at your future and saying, I'm worried I'm going to lose this. And so you're holding on to things now so that in your future, you're not made to be more uncomfortable. You could be doing this in relationships, okay, especially with love. You could also be doing this with your money. So we also need to look at career, work. It's really important that you understand that you could very well be in a position, I don't know how old you are, but some research just came out on millennials and why we aren't going through midlife crisis. And it's because we've never had stability. To go through midlife crisis, you have to have had something to get bored of. We've had no peace. We've had no rest. We've had no security. We build, it's wiped out. We build, it's wiped out. We're constant. We know we have no way to age in America. Like we can't afford it. All these things, these are things you need to look at. You need to look at these stress points for you. And you need to say, what's the worst case scenario? And what is it about the instability, okay, with my finances, with my work, with the amount of effort I put in? What is it about that instability that I'm allowing to sort of rule me? And how can you get into a power position over it? I just did a church service for Roots Revival here in YouTube at Ask Ivy. That's getting republished here in the next, I think tomorrow, actually. I think it's going up tomorrow. It was on thinking of yourself as the resource. So it was called Going It Alone, Seeing Self as the Resource. This is something you really need to work on. And in the area of love, you're kind of doing it there too. You're seeing the other person as a resource. You're seeing the other person as something you need. You're holding on to people and situations that simply do not serve you anyways. And they can't rescue you. They can't keep you afloat in life. You have to be more confident that you could do this on your own. And that should life happen and everything gets wiped out, you can rebuild. All right. So spend more time focusing while you're awake. Okay. While you're awake, on the skills that you have, any untapped areas in your life with your personality, even relationships and networking and things like that. All right. And then you will be sleeping more peacefully. All right. We have another one coming in here from an Ayanna. This is a $10 question. And she wants to know, I'm looking for advice on what's going on in my relationship. Okay, so I don't have a name for this person. What's going on in Ayanna's relationship? Lack of trust. I mean, that's for sure. And that comes up to the right side, which is the future, but also over here in front of me, which is free will future. So somebody may be doing this deliberately. Okay, when free will is involved and deception or, lack of trust, feelings of inadequacy, emotional, almost like abuse, is happening. It's deliberate in a lot of ways, right? That type of thing just doesn't really happen over and over again without someone choosing it. And what I don't like about this the most, I think, is the emotional manipulation, because there's a withholding. And so people, I don't know which of my cameras is making noise. I don't know. If I lose you guys, switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy. So it's like you have to look at the different areas where this person is not giving back to you in ways that you've asked for. We need to look at patterns. We need to see where it is that we've tried to make improvements and we've been specific about what it is that we need or expect, and that simply is not happening. This is an opportunity for you to say, all right, I need to take responsibility for that and hold myself accountable also, because I let it slide. I let it slide. I let it slide. All right. If you keep sweeping things under the carpet and then you got a big old lump in your carpet, with dirt underneath, eventually you can't hide it anymore. And you have to say, you know what? I think I need to clean house. I think I should have done a better job cleansing and maintaining in my house. Your house, represents your life, you. And the impression that I'm getting here is that you also may not really be trying. So if the other person has a tendency toward manipulation, let's say, and you have a tendency to then play off of that manipulation and manipulate in return, or allow yourself to feel vulnerable, or like you're having meltdowns, or like you're reactionary to it, then it's just feeding more of the same. All right. So those are some of the areas that we need to look. I would say that this is a period of time, and for the next, I keep hearing 1 to 2, it could be 1 to 2 days. I was going to say more 1 to 2 weeks, where all the information that you need is coming to you. All right. So if up until this point, and there's a lot of talk of 7, could be 7 weeks, could be 7 months, but if you've been collecting information, trying to figure out what's going on with the relationship, what's the dynamic, what does it mean, where are we headed? You've been collecting information for a while. In a minute, you're about to have everything you need to know. All right. So 1 to 2, and then you need to decide what you want to do about it. All right. Very good. Thank you so much for your question. We're going to move on to a Nicole. I do want to stop and ask for anyone tuning in late, if you could please give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment of any kind. It would be greatly appreciated, and hit that subscribe button. All right. From Nicole, 678. All right. Nicole wants to know, what is the future looking like for me and Robbie? We've been together for a long time. Is it good? Is it bad? What do you see? Okay, so Nicole and Robbie, what does the future look like? Robbie is very stable. You guys almost remind me of, like, in the zodiac, polar opposite signs. I'm not saying you're unstable, but where like one person is this, it reminds me of twins. One person is a little more introverted and always sort of the same, and the other person has this sort of like, wild air type of energy, and it balances, okay, very nicely. And so what I see coming up in the future is some significant demand for you to be able to understand what he brings to the table. He brings a lot of stability, but some of the tests that are going to be coming in, I don't want to say just for the relationship, it's more like in his life. Okay. So just tests for Robbie are going to require that he be pliable, fluid, willing to change. And whether or not he's actually going to do that is a little debatable here. He may be willing to do it in some areas more than others. He may be willing to, like, take a promotion at work, or apply for a position, or ask for a raise. Like, he may be willing to do things like that, but he may not be willing to make other changes, like especially within the relationship, that make him stretch psychologically, or grow a lot internally, or deal with shadow work. I think that you will be going through some changes as well, where you're supposed to be looking for the upcoming year deep into yourself and seeing, what is it that I want to do? Where is it that I want to live? What is it that I want to be spending my time on and thoughts on, my affection and energy every day? You're plucking out the gold, okay, and you're leaving all the rest. And we're going to see how that changes you and how that affects the relationship. So good, bad, indifferent. I mean, it depends on what you guys do with it. That's up to your free will. Okay. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to another question here from a Hunter. And this is a $10. Okay. And Hunter wants to know, what in the world am I supposed to be doing or focusing on right now? I feel like I'm putting more work in all areas of life lately. What is Hunter supposed to be focused on right now? I feel like just resting in regards to the way you think, being more mindful with the way you sleep, using more lucid techniques, and focusing on work. All right, so let's look at these three. All right, what does that mean? You know, you have a restlessness. I mean, this is the issue. And so what Spirit's talking about here is you calming down the way that you think. And this is something you can do daily by starting off in a more mindful way. So I always encourage my students to take 10 to 20 minutes every morning with your cup of coffee or tea before you do anything, and sit with your guides. Now, if that time frame doesn't work for you, just make sure you do it at night. But you want to sit with them and you want to say, what is it that I should be focused on today? All right, that's it. What am I supposed to be focused on today? They're going to show you, and then you want to make sure that all the other noise, okay, going on in the world around you does not distract you from it. And from day to day, you know, it may look a bit the same for you because you do have a heavy focus here on work, okay? But expect that some days they will give you something completely different. Some days Spirit will say to you, yeah, today you need to go shopping. Today you need to go have fun with a friend. Today you need to not speak and make sure you go out in nature, you know, for at least 4 hours. You don't know what it's going to be, okay? So don't dictate, even if it gets into a bit of a pattern at the moment. So that's a really helpful tool for life. I think that with the lucid dreaming techniques, what we're really talking about here, you can check out the dreams class up on my website. It's learning how, when you're awake, okay, to control your thoughts and get into a pattern of thinking so that when you doze off, you automatically go into that state of dreaming. It's positive. It's, you know, productive, it's restful, because that is your sacred time. You need to defend your sacred time of healing more than what you are. And the third thing that comes up for you, you know, again, is work. I really think that you need to be reaching a point where you're doing more of what is, you know, on your path, and less of what keeps you treading water, or just getting that paycheck, or working for someone else, or being on the runaround. And you may have to look at this time. You may have been doing this for the last 3 months or so, at your training, your education, your certifications, research. Okay, what do you have under your belt, and do you need something more? All right, thank you so much for that question, Hunter. We are going to move on to another one from Elisa, and this is a $5 question. Lisa wants to know, do you see a time frame on when Alex will meet my parents and family? Thank you. When will Alex meet Lisa's family? I keep seeing 3 months. Could it be as soon as 3 weeks? It could. There seems to be a vacation going on. There seems to be a trip. I see people walking down a sidewalk. It looks like a city street. I see little cafes. I see a little bistro. I see like little, you know, restaurant. I see ice cream and cookies, and I don't know what the heck I'm looking at a street, okay, in a city. Feels like a downtown, you know, type of area. And I feel like you're headed there. Okay. So I feel like Alex, there's conversation that you're about to go meet them or meet up. And I'm not saying you have to meet at that point. I'm saying this is part of the experience. And then it seems like you're at the house. And I think that it's something maybe your parents aren't trying to put together. It's almost like they have a little bit of a resistance to this, and I feel like it's mostly you putting it together. All right, so when will it happen? When you make it happen. That's how that's going to happen. All right, because Alex will just go with the flow. on my way to the ice cream shop, da, 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 you know. All right, so we have one coming in here from Lavender Time, $25. Thank you so much. I appreciate the donation. So this is a $10 question. And she wants to know any messages from my spirit guides. Okay, let's see what your spirit guides are saying here. It's time. It's time. I see a lot of numbers. I see a lot of clocks. I see a lot of wristwatches. I see a lot of on the mark, on the money. If you've been breaking away from someone who is, you may be tied up in a romantic partnership, you're setting some boundaries there. You may also be breaking away from what looks like banks, institutions, you know, people like employers, maybe bosses, you know, people in positions of authority who dictate your finances, breaking away. So you're essentially for the next 2 to 4 months with a peak at 7 months out from now. So we'll talk about that. You're essentially taking back some of your power. You're reorganizing and rearranging your energy, your affection, your thoughts, and how much you give to other people, but also your resources. And as you rearrange these things, you're creating more. Okay. And I heard she's consuming more. And so it's like you're stopping drains on your life. All right. You're stopping others from siphoning. You're stopping yourself from allowing yourself to be siphoned, because if you've allowed yourself to be in positions or relationships, you know, where you know it's stealing your energy and you have no peace, you are chronically exhausted, it's really not leading anywhere. That's something you have to get an upper hand on. So in doing this, you're ending some karmic cycles. You're wrapping up a karmic chapter in your life that may have been going on for the last 4 years that really does not suit you anymore. And you are entering into, in the 7th month, a breakthrough point. A breakthrough point in astrology may look a little bit like a lottery aspect, okay? But I don't really believe in luck. I think everything has to be karmically earned, okay? Everything we get. So that's always fun, but you did, okay? That's the point. So by the 7th month, if you do this, you're going to earn this sort of breakthrough point. And that's going to hit you in all areas. So we're talking about, you know, money. We're talking about health. We're talking about relationships. We're talking about work. You know, your even mental. I'm hearing a lot about like your mental stability and your energy. We're going to see an increase in all these areas. And I think that what you're doing right now is sort of peacefully, okay, sitting still, and you're examining everything. You're doing a little research, you're pulling your energy back, you're being a little detached. All right. And I think that's good. It's okay to judge. It's important that you are always using your discernment and that you never snooze on that. I don't care how long you've been in a situation. You can't just stop doing those analysis on what's happening around you and how it makes you feel. Okay, because you're always growing and changing, right? So your circumstances and relationships need to do so as well. All right, thank you so much for your question. We have another one coming in here from Melissa Subia Masubi, and this is a $10 question. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. All right. Does my mom, Olga, or Steven have any messages or advice for me? Olga or Steven, for Melissa, I have a pinched nerve. If you have been like sleeping funny, or if you've been carrying a lot of stress in your shoulders, your neck, the back of your head, up into your, you know, upper back, however this is happening, I feel like your mom is sort of trying to, like stretch it out, you know, more like a masseuse than a chiropractor. You know, it's like she's trying to help you remove the stress. But she said, you fight, you know, you fight. She's like, you fight against me. And I'm under this impression that you're very, you know, I think that one of the things you may want to do with your anxiety, everybody has stress, right? Everybody has anxiety. Everybody's tense. That's life. But what do you do every day to detox from it? What do you do every day to cleanse from it? Are you the kind of person who's just like, okay, you know, I'm out of whack, I'm going to get rooted and grounded? You can't just do that all the time. You can't just always try to be centered or do a little meditation. That's like slapping a Band-Aid on an infection. Okay. We have to clean it out. And I'm under the impression that you're not taking enough time, top to bottom, right? Start at your crown chakra, go down through your entire body. Where do I have stress? Where do I have tension? Where can I release? She also says you've been grinding your teeth. So it's like, and I can't prescribe or diagnose, but whether it's like TMJ or, you just want to be careful about what you're doing there, especially at night, when you're not even aware you're grinding like that. It's like she wants you to release more in order to raise your vibration. And she said that's the solution to everything, because as this comes up, everything you attract to you comes up, and it's easier to tune things out. So also, and this is coming more from Stephen, if you have people around you who are annoying, if you have people around you who are annoying, problematic, I don't know, toxic, talking a load of nonsense, whatever the case may be, you may be finding that as your vibration is higher, it's easier for you to tune them out. You may also be in a period of time, and there's mention of the last 2 months, but I keep hearing 3 months total. So there could have been a big change. If we go back 3 months and then we look at 2 months, what happened in that month right there? Something big happened where you essentially maybe detached, or you started setting better boundaries, or you verbally expressed to some of these people in your life how it's going to be. Not necessarily how it's going to be for them, but how it's going to be for you, and how it is that you're willing to receive or you're unwilling to receive their energy. And so in a way, it does sort of force them, to behave differently if they want to be able to come around and eat, and spend time with you, receive the benefits of what is, the grace, he says, of your presence. And it is, you are a gracious person, and people need to start giving back to you, okay, in that way. And so keep those boundaries set. And sometimes you have to renew them. Sometimes it's not enough to just keep maintaining. You're like, let's look at this again. Let's see how I need to revamp it a little bit. A lot of people with boundaries, because it makes them very uncomfortable and they're always avoiding confrontation, they set a boundary, and if it doesn't work, they're like, well, I never, there's nothing ever works. No, now you know how to revamp it. Okay. Does it need to be tweaked a little bit? Do it again, do it in a different way. Okay. A lot of options here, but don't stop. They love you very much. Let's move on to another one. It's from a Lauren C. This is a $5 question. And Lauren wants to know, hi, Ivy, are these new health issues due to Klonopin withdrawals? I just got out of the hospital. Thank you. I can't prescribe or diagnose. When people ask me questions like this, all I can tell you is how I'm getting it through medical intuitive insight. And it feels to me like it could very well be. I feel like your body does not adjust well to medication. I feel like your body does not adjust well to, I want to say mostly in the organs, okay, which is our filtration system. So we're talking about the liver, we're talking about the kidneys, we're talking about the gallbladder, we're talking about also in your bloodstream, like spiked elevated levels of, maybe like, chemicals, or, your body doesn't react very well to it. So I'm not saying that there aren't health issues that you may have that require some help. I'm just saying that when you have a health problem and then you bring in a solution that is a really intense medication, you can most likely expect, okay, a lot of other problems, and it can become hard for you to disentangle what's causing what came first, the chicken or the egg, what the heck is happening here. I don't feel like the doctors are going to be of any assistance in that either. It's not really where their money is. It's not really their goal. Okay. And I don't say that in a blanketed way. I mean, literally for you, that's not a motivation of theirs to figure that out. Okay. Because their paycheck lies elsewhere. And so you're just getting the same old runaround, the same old energy, and that could lead to other similar problems in the future. I think just be mindful of what's going on, do your own research, and, do what you feel you need to do in your gut to protect yourself. But yes, I would say a lot of it is absolutely from introducing something and then removing something like this. Yeah. All right, we are going to move on to another question here from a Samantha, 23. Okay, so this is a $10 question from Samantha. I have been confused about my love life. What is this connection I feel with my ex, Tony? I don't understand. It's hot and cold. Okay, so ultimately what I feel with Tony is a karmic contract. And I feel that he is not interested in anything like long-term or big commitment, cohabitation, merging of finance, basically anything, right? Anything that you might be interested in having with someone stable where you can build something more for the future. He's not interested in any of that. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't do it. I'm not saying he isn't maybe doing it with somebody else. But what you have to understand is that behind the scenes, it's dysfunctional. It isn't real. Okay. It's this sort of illusion that he's doing it. He's not actually doing that. He's just along for the ride. So if he can find a lover, if he can get involved in a relationship where the other person does all that, carries the load, steers the ship, is the captain, and he can just go along for the ride, he may show up. He may go along for a ride, you know. If you say, I want us to build, I want a real teamwork, effort here into what can maybe be our future if we both, come to the table and participate, you're not going to get that from him. You're not going to see any interest whatsoever. So that could be confusing. Why is he doing it over here, but he won't do it over here? Because it's not the same. He's not doing it over there, nor is he going to do it over here, nor in the future will he ever do it. So you're going to need to understand that with this being a karmic contract, this being essentially a lesson, that's what karmic contracts are. You need to examine the cords. Cords keep you sort of addicted to the other person. This person can haunt you in your dreams. Years can pass. You can move overseas. Their name will still pop up constantly. They're still constantly in your head because through cords, we can exchange energy, use telepathy, astral travel becomes easier, which is really what affects the dreams. And there's this sort of addiction to one another where we never really escape it, even if we broke it off. So I have two different classes up on my website. One is called Karma Contracts and Past Lives. The other one is called Relationships, Boundaries, and Cord Cutting. I would highly recommend that you do a cord cutting with this person because ultimately a karmic contract is a serious contract. It has been fulfilled, but you haven't completed learning all the lessons. You need to examine more closely what's going on here and what you were supposed to take from it. But the cords will remain. Okay. So no shame in cutting that cord. And making sure that you have more of an upper hand on protecting your energy. You can even think you're crazy thinking of him all the time. And it's not you thinking of him at all. It's him pulling and tugging at your energy. It's him thinking of you. You're not having dreams about him as much as he may be coming to you in those dreams. He does want for you to do all of this for him, and I don't see you being willing, nor should you be. All right. So that is the bigger lesson here. Thank you so much for your question. We are going to move on to another one from a Sammy D. This is a $10 question. And Sammy wants to know, am I doing the right thing? How will this turn out? Okay, well, that's super vague, but let me see if I can jump into more specifically what you're talking about here. Am I doing the right thing? How will this turn out? I feel like it turns out fine. I don't feel like a big rush of energy like, oh my God, this is amazing. The turnout on this thing, is incredible. I feel more like a little numb about it. I feel like at the end of this, you're going to be like, it's kind of what I expected, So not really a huge ta-da moment with any of this. I also feel like no one else is really that involved. And so if you thought other people may have more of a reaction and it's kind of like nobody cares or nobody really responds, that wouldn't shock me either. I also think that, what you're supposed to be taking from this experience is more confidence in making moves. So it's like, okay, what is the bigger picture here? What were we supposed to learn from this? Having more confidence in making a move when you're not sure about the outcome, right? We could call it blind faith. And understanding that sometimes that has to happen. I think that the clock was ticking on this for a long time. And this is where you're going to feel the biggest reaction from the universe, yourself, the energy. And so the clock was ticking on this for a long time. And it was sort of like you were postponing it. Now that you've done it, or that you're going to do it, it's like you are going to feel as though like a clog has been removed from a drain. And it's sort of like, what you did energetically was like dump some Drano down there, and some hot water. You'd be added a little heat to the situation, which is fine. And so now we're going to be feeling more fluidity, and I feel your energy uplifting. I feel more clarity of mind, more clarity in the way you see the world, more clarity in even what you hear and how you hear things, and more clarity in your speech. So all in all, this is leading to abundance. And I think that what again you're supposed to gain from this is more confidence in the future when you have to make a similar decision, that you are going to maybe do it faster, and you're going to trust yourself the first or the second time, not like the third, the fourth, the fifth, being double-minded, waiting, procrastinating. It's like, okay, I'm getting more accurate in my gut. I'm going to get faster in all of this, and I'm going to be more confident doing it. And it's just like, you just keep elevating. Okay. So you're really, we could say, mastering this skill. Love it. Of blind faith, of stepping out in blind faith. All right. So we are going to move on to another question here from, all right. And I have some thank yous coming in. I have been missing the feed because I can't really kind of, watch everything here. But yes, you guys are so welcome. And thank you for the feedback. Give a little testimony if you got a reading, how it resonates with you. Comments always help me out in the algorithm also. All right. We have one here from a Missy, $10 question. All right. Missy wants to know, is Marcus my person and will we be together? A little bit your person. I like to look at situations like this where it's like not, till death do us part, and twin flames are a total myth and a cash grab, and there's no such thing as the one. You get 5 to 6 different soulmate options over the course of your life. So it's who you choose, so there's no such thing as your person. But a little bit in that, like, you guys could definitely come together with a nice amount of compatibility. And so in a situation like this, it's best to look at, well, like, how long are we supposed to be together? Or what's the nature of the bond? Or like, what is this contract? Is there a contract? Is there a contract between us? And what does that look like? What are we supposed to be doing with our time together? Not trying to like lock it down into being something more than what it is, but living within that reality and being able to appreciate the other person and the nature of the dynamics for whatever they are. Maximize. I think that you guys could be getting together and staying together for a fairly significant period of time. I keep getting 5 to 6, and this could be more like, 5 to 6 months, where you guys are exploring a lot of different things. It seems more like you verbally talking, bringing some intellectual stimulation. I think this is good for him to be triggered in these areas where he's like, never thought of that before. Wow, I'm feeling something I've never felt before. Interesting. You really get his mind going. He's really starting to think outside the box, more than what he has. And so that may be a nice foundation in your relationship, that you guys are able to play off of each other's energy, but it's really more you, that brings the interest to the relationship. He seems a little bit on the quiet side where this is concerned. I'm not saying he may not talk a lot, but it's like, what is he talking about? Is he talking about anything of real substance, or is it just kind of, I don't know, like, you bring the intrigue, let's put it that way. I think that, what he is able to offer you as well is a lot of acknowledgement about different parts of your personality that may get overlooked by other love partners. There's an appreciation for who you really are on a deeper level. And there's a nice comfort and stability in the way that you guys interact that feels really honest. Like, I'm never looking to see what Marcus is hiding. It's never like, where is he? He is just open book, so it's like, I know where he is, and I know what he's doing with his time. I know what he's doing if he's online, and I know what it is that he's bringing back to me on a daily basis. And that can offer you something that you haven't really had before. And I think it's important for you to not necessarily focus on giving him a ton of attention or credit for that, because that is the bare minimum. Okay. We should have that. That is the bare minimum in all relationships. Okay. That sense of security. You don't have that. Okay. Out of there quick. So that's great that he's capable of doing that. That's fine. A lot of that is just part of his personality. Okay. But I think what you're supposed to be looking at on a deeper level is, where is that bringing healing into my life? How is this helping me to do shadow work? How is this helping me to remove, from my heart, wounds that I've had, and have more faith? Not only in like maybe love or a partnership and intimacy, but confidence also in yourself, because now you know what that's supposed to feel like. And if you ever don't feel that in the future, you're going to be faster at protecting your heart. Okay. So there's a lot going on here. How long will it last? I don't know. I'm saying, forever, but 6 to 9 months is a pretty good amount of time. We'll see what you guys choose to do with it after that. Maybe expand, possibly. All right, we're going to move on to another question from a Sarah. This is a $5 question. Sarah wants to know, my daughter and I are moving in with Kevin on whatever the first of the month. Do you see it going well? I think it's okay. I think you need to calm down. Okay, you kind of bring, okay. So I always say to my students, when someone brings sort of like Chihuahua nervous energy into the reading, it can shut everything down. It can shut down the reader. It can shut down the sitter. It can shut down spirit. Okay. It is powerful stuff. Nervousness, anxiety, okay, overthinking, tension of any kind. It's a powerful thing. And we really want to clear all that out. Also, I think in terms of like, I thought you said your daughter, right? So your daughter reads this. She's incredibly insightful. And so if she's highly empathic and she absorbs your tension, your anxiety, your worry, it's going to start to manifest in her telepathically as though it is her own thought. Energetically, it could come out in nightmares or sleep disturbances. Okay. And then just in her body is upset, in a million different ways. And so we really want to be careful. And I would watch for you specifically, be mindful if you're getting more ear ringing. Now, I know for you guys who follow me, I talk about ear ringing all the time as like a tinnitus that indicates spirit messages coming through or a warning coming through. But in this case, it's stress. It can also come, I also teach that empaths get it when they've accidentally overabsorbed too much energy, okay, from others around them. And so be careful for heart palpitations or ear ringing or numbness in your mouth or even dizziness. You need to calm down. You've made this decision. You're going to follow through on this decision. Let everything play out, okay? And the more centered you are, the better everyone's going to feel and more in the flow, okay? All right. Good luck with everything. We have another question coming in here from a Courtney Liz. This is a $10 question. Courtney wants to know, wondering if the relationship I want with Paul will come to fruition in the upcoming month. Okay, Courtney Liz. Okay, Courtney Liz and Paul within the upcoming month. Will the relationship I want come to fruition? He seems to not really say much about it. He seems to not really advance with it. There could be a conversation about it that does seem to be motivated, okay, from his end originally, but not with follow through. And so he may bring something up or say something indicating that that is the direction he wants things to go in, or that he is open to that conversation. But then there's nothing else. I don't hear anything else after that. And so there could be 3 other incidents. There are 4 incidents total that are going to go on, okay, in the upcoming month that make you understand more the true dynamics here in this relationship. And it may very well be that you have to be the one who pursues something or sets the tone for what's expected, what you want. And he may be a little bit more pacifistic, or is that a word? What am I saying? I don't even know what I'm saying. Pacifist. Yeah, pacifist. He may be passive, whatever. He may be passive and willing to go along with it, but not necessarily active. Okay. So how do you feel about that? I think that's what you're going to have to judge. I mean, that's all I can say is that if that's the case and you feel like he isn't like going after it, does that rub you the wrong way? What does that say about the future of the relationship? Do you want it to stay like that, where he's like reluctant, or maybe we'll go along for the ride? And, you're having this feeling in the future, like, you're overreaching in order to maintain what you guys have agreed to, or would you prefer to wait, pull your energy back and see if he's going to step up to the plate and really show you that he wants it and that he is motivated to do whatever it takes to put the relationship together and make sure that it's maintained on a healthy level? So you'll have all your information by the end of the month. There will be 4 different incidents, 4 different conversations, 3 of which you get stuck initiating, 1 which may appear like he initiated. Okay. All right. We're going to move on to another question from a Devin. This is a $5 question. Okay. Devin says, "Hi, Ivy. I can read people's emotions very well, and I can often feel spirit, and I know when people are pregnant before they do. Do you see this enhancing to seeing spirits? Thank you." Here's what I tell my students who say things like this. You're waiting for it to grow into something more. And in reality, it's all there already, but you've got blocks. So, check out my psychic mediumship course. What I'm helping you to do is remove the blocks, remove the obstacles, deprogram, relearn the lost language. All right. When you do this, you can't just do it in one area. You have to do it for psychic, mediumistic, and empathic abilities. When you do it in these 3 areas, you're going to feel and really connect to that mediumistic increase. Not only because, you're opening up more, so there is more, but also because you understand what was already there. And so that's really the problem, is that there's a ton there, but you don't know how to pull the detail out of it. You don't know how to read it in a comprehensive way. It's a lot of wonder and curiosity, but it doesn't really equate to actual messages. And that's the problem. So we want to be open, okay, to the education, the training, the deprogramming that is required in order for you to feel more in the flow of that. So check out the psychic mediumship course. Absolutely. But yeah, you can get more in touch. These things on their own, though, you're mentioning a bunch of different things that have nothing to do with mediumship. So it's sort of like you're not seeing it in the right categories. This has nothing to do with this. So no, in that case, it's not going to feed it. All right. So we are going to move on to another question here from an Erica. This is a $10 question. Okay. Erica says, "What do you see for my career and money? I have been feeling this strong pull to change, but I'm not sure if I'm making the right move." Erica, career and money, what are you supposed to do? Let's just take a look at your life contract. I always just cut right to the chase. You could book a life contract reading with me at any time. Erica, what is Erica supposed to be doing in her life contract? It's like words coming into your mouth, words coming into your mouth. I feel like when people say something to you, like, I want this created, or this is what the company needs to be, or here's an idea that I have, make it happen. You have a way of being like, and then you bump everybody else out of the way and you just plow on through. And I feel like when you enter into a room and you're going to create something, people are like, shit, she's here. It's over. Everyone just throws in the towel. You have perfectionistic skills. I understand they can work against you sometimes, but you have perfectionistic skills and follow through that's unmatched. And you would have done some of this work in 2 previous lives where you would have been able to not only go in and come up with like a map or the architectural design, right? The game plan for everybody, but you know how to implement it. You have that follow through. And when it requires that other people be involved in order for the task or the project to play out, you know who to pull in. These are a lot of different skills, right? Working simultaneously in your favor. So if you were to create something and you had to bring a team on, to sort of project this whole thing, you would be a very valuable player on any team to come in and help whoever is at the head. Okay, whoever wants it done or whatever company you're working for. So I really think that that's where you are now in your life contract, is realizing that you have this ability to do it. I think that what you need to confront is the fact that you want to be behind the scenes. You want to be maybe behind a desk or, quiet in front of the computer. I'm not saying you want to be in a cubicle, but there is safety in a box. Okay. With a plant and a picture of the cat, there is safety in that, but you're really getting shoved out of your safety zone. You're getting shoved out of your comfort zone into a really prosperous endeavor, in your life here. And I think that I lost track of the question. I don't even know. I'm off on a tangent here. What do I see with career and money? Yeah, that's what I see. Okay. So that's what you need to be doing. You need to focus on that area. Now that's going to go on for approximately 3 to 5 years. So you're going to have a lot of benefit coming in the first 2 years. So it's going to feel like it's moving really, really fast. Okay. And then it's like, more gradual after that. After the 5th year, you have to revamp. You got to come back to the drawing board. Okay. And you have to say, now what's the next level? How can I use everything I've done as leverage to get up again? And you may be looking more at finances, investments, and things like that at that time. Okay. Interesting dynamics for sure. All right. We are going to move on to another question here from a unicorn, a popo. Love it. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. All right. Unicorn Popo wants to know, I've been looking for my dad. But my mom won't budge on information. Could you please provide input about if he's still alive or how I can find him? I don't know his name. Okay. I'm hearing a Richard, and then I'm hearing a Daniel. So I think that these could also be connector names. Like he has brothers. He has what looks like possibly 2 sisters. I almost wonder if this is a full sister and a half sister, and then this looks like a full brother. So there are other people you may inadvertently, sort of find him and cross paths through other relatives like aunts and uncles. I think there are quite a few cousins. It looks like where you were born, the area where you lived. Okay, specifically the area where you lived when you were born, the house that you went back to, not the hospital, the house that you went back to. If we were to look northwest of that spot, we would see where he was living. I have to admit, there was some talk of jail time. So jail time can mean jail time that he may have done. It can also mean that he was going through some difficulty in his life, breaking free from chains that were holding him back due to maybe toxic programming or generational curses. Okay. There may have been some drug and alcohol abuse issues here as well. And that can lead to that sort of imprisonment, okay, within oneself. But it is possible that was literal. All right. So you may be able to track him down that way. I think that ultimately, what he did was to straighten himself out. He may still have had some issues with the drinking, escapist or avoidant tendencies. But I feel like if you were to do more research on like DNA, so whether it be blood tests, mouth swabs, my ear is ringing like crazy. Get connected to your loved ones from his side. This is not complex to do. Okay. Yes, you could book a reading with me. I could do mediumship the whole time, but you could also just sit and call them in. Okay. Dad's line, loved ones and ancestors, come through and tell me where to start looking. Okay. Left ear ringing is mediumship activating. They're going to put the thoughts in your head. They're going to show you where to look. I think though that again, through the mouth swab or a blood test or anything like this, if you stop going to Ma and you start going more to like actual DNA testing, you're going to find some kind of a program is the best way I can describe what I'm seeing. It looks like it's on a computer, face recognition. And so it's like at some point you're going to be able to put, now I don't even know, I may be seeing something that's going to come up for us in the future. Okay. Like a new piece of technology. And it may exist now. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's like you put your face in front of the camera and it recognizes, and then it goes through DNA, it goes through something like ancestry.com. And it says like, these are all the people that you look alike, that you have not only matching DNA to, but you also have features, you know, that really just shouldn't happen to this close of a match. And then from there, I feel like it's getting easier. Okay. There's also a little bit of talk of looking a state over, because he didn't stay there. When I said Northwest, like he didn't stay there for long. Again, there could have been some jail time that happened, but there could have been a bunch of other problems where he had to, you know, if you're going to rebuild your life, sometimes it's good to get out of the area entirely. You know what I mean? And so he may have gone over like one state over. It would be the equivalent of New York to Pennsylvania. All right. So wherever you are, wherever you were, look over to the right one state. All right. Thank you for that question. Always interesting. We are going to move on to another one that is a Rochelle Ann. This is a $10 question. And she wants to know, can you tell me if my friend Lisa is okay? Does she have any messages for anyone? Do I have protection and guidance from her or my mom or loved ones who have passed away? So yes, that's automatic, that they offer protection to you, even though that's actually your protector angel and your protector guide. That's their job. So loved ones can assist, but that's not really their full-time job. Okay. So everyone is protected. Everybody comes with the same network of protection. Your friend Lisa, I do want to say that I got to interrupt. Is it your mom? Your mom is constantly leaving you signs and symbols that you seem to be overlooking. And it's not necessarily, she said, protection. You know, it's not like gloom or doom, like something terrible is going to necessarily happen, but it's more about warning you about energy vampires that are around you and situations that you're spending too much time on that you shouldn't be involved in, and not pulling back when you should have. And so you say too much or you get overly engaged. You're not staying in your lane. She is constantly sending you signs and symbols about this. Numbers. She's a numerology person. She's been sending you 2s and 5s, birds. You know, we always want to see the birds moving from the left to the right, never from the right to the left, as the cat runs through from the left to the right. Okay. Right behind the camera here. And she uses like little objects. So whether it's like little candies or it's little things that you may like leave out for her, it's like little feathers and stones and, you know, the little objects. It's like she's constantly interacting with you. And I feel like you miss half of it. And then I feel like the rest of it, you go, oh, well, that's lovely, or that's curious, or that's interesting, you know, but you don't ever say, what might this be about? And then your brain, she says, your brain moves very quickly. So you like to sort of rush through an interaction. You like to rush through a message. You may have some trouble really focusing in and developing it. Okay. What she's telling you is that you need to cut off these vampire energies in your life. And when you know, digress, she's quick to step in and remind you to get back on track. So be paying more attention for that. She loves you very much. She's also giving you a red rose, which is a birthday or anniversary right around this time. Lisa says that she's bringing in a lot of joy. She's giving you a yellow rose, which is fun, travel, adventure. It could also be a trip coming up for you. And she said that it's good for you to get out in like the fresh air. It's good for you to get out in the sun or like down to the beach or something like this. I feel like rosy cheeks, a big smile. It's going to uplift your energy. I don't know too, if you've been doing something with your diet and exercise and trying to get back on track with that, but I feel like Lisa is doing this with you also. Yes, they all protect you. Absolutely. A ton of love to you from them. All right. We have another question from, where are we? Christina Hernandez. Okay. Christina, $10 question. And she wants to know, hi, Ivy, is there any advice from my guides? I'm curious about my love life because my ex is very hot and cold, and I have a slight interest in a guy named Errol. I don't know why I'm going through this. Okay, so what does Christina's relationship guide? Okay, we've got your joy guide also talking on this. And your work and money guide. That's a little bit of a red flag. And you're interested in Errol. Let's see what's going on. This ex may be interested in taking your resources, whether it be your money, getting ego strokes from your attention, sort of reeling you in and then sort of dropping you like a ton of bricks, okay, and being an energy vampire, getting to feed off of that power trip. This is a narcissistic I can't prescribe or diagnose, but this is narcissistic behavior. If you Google the 12 different narcissistic techniques, I'd say at least half are here. Okay, so I heard wizened, okay, to what's actually going on here. And I feel like you have to reach a point of being disgusted. Right now, your energy is so drained, you almost don't have the strength, okay, to be angry. But sometimes you could pull your energy back and start to recoup by getting educated and then empowered. And you should reach a point of disgust, okay, with this. I would also recommend relationships, boundaries, and cord cutting class up on my website. As far as the new person is concerned, because I'm not even going to address this old one. This is ridiculous. It's also like raggedy and tired, okay, and super old. Thank you. Maraid, my adorable producer here, just popped up the class. If you guys are here on YouTube, you could see it on the screen. Relationships, boundaries, and cord cutting. And I would say that anybody who's tuning in tonight who's using that phrase, like 3 of you have used that phrase, hot and cold, hot and cold. Okay, hot and cold, look up narcissistic abuse and then get this class, okay? You need to sometimes cut that cord. I don't care if it is a soulmate. I don't care if it is a karmic contract, and get the upper hand on it. What I feel with the other person is a more genuine energy. I feel a sort of excitement to have you around. It's kind of sweet. It's kind of childlike. And it seems really sort of open and honest. This person may also get scared off, fairly easily. So we can enjoy, interaction with Errol. But if Errol starts to sort of pull back or seem to panic or get nitpicky or, try to control the relationship a little bit, like a walking on eggshells, and is not communicating about that, we may have someone who's triggered by intimacy. And, his job, regardless, is to communicate it, not after the fact. So keep an eye out for that. And while it's okay for you to say, what is it that's going on with you? Because you seem to be going through something, don't forget that's really his job to bring it up. Okay. And, if we do have someone who's dealing with issues with intimacy, we're going to have to deal with that as the first pivotal point in the relationship to see if we can come closer together or if we're going to go further apart. But it's definitely an upgrade. All right. Good luck with that. We have another question coming in here from... okay, good. From a Nicolette. This is a $10 question. And Nicolette wants to know, what does my future look like with Carlisle? Okay, and my career. I'm assuming these are 2 totally different things. Okay. What does your future look like with Carlisle? Nicolette and Carlisle. Pretty productive. I think that, he may be going through some things that consume all his energy, consume all his attention, requires all his focus. He may overdo it. He may have Cancer, Capricorn, somewhere in his chart that forces him to hyper focus on problem solving. And he may be the kind of person who sort of goes into a shell. I think of a turtle, sometimes a turtle goes into its shell and it's like, oh, there was a problem out in the environment, and good luck getting them out. I mean, it's going to take like food or something, it's like you have to kind of you got to lure him back, to join us. You want to join us? You're okay. You can join us. I think he may have some feelings that if he can't resolve issues, he's somehow low in his self-esteem, or his ego takes a hit, or he's punishing himself in some way, like, I'm not allowed to play until this gets done. And that just isn't going to work, So I think we may have to deal with that for a while. And this could go on for a fairly significant period of time. I mean, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but this particular change and shift could go anywhere from 6 to 7 months to a year, depending on what he does with it, right? And so he's got free will, so we'll see, how he changes things. But he may also increase a lot with his psychic ability during that time. My ears are ringing. Psychic ability rings a tinnitus or a feeling of pressure or seashell on the right side, the right ear, and then all kinds of prophecy can come in. So help him, through that spiritual development aspect, if you're able to do that. And be a good listener. I think active listening with this person, sometimes it's just about, like, with someone like this, sometimes you just have to kind of reel them in a little bit, get them to talk, give them a snack, and then just say nothing. Just be super quiet, because this is someone who processes and finds answers as they speak out loud. So it could just be a bunch of mumbo jumbo, which is probably why he doesn't want to open his mouth in the first place. But then once he starts talking, he's processing things. So say nothing, okay, for long periods. So that looks good if we can, get through that period of time. And as far as your career is concerned, what's the question? What does your future look like in your career? I see you getting into more of a leadership position. This comes at about a year to a year and a half. And I guess you could say management position, but it felt more like a leadership position where you're achieving 2 additional skills that you did not previously have. The one looks very similar to something you did in the past, but it's not the same. And so you may be taking this out after that. You may do this for approximately maybe a year and a half to 2 years after that, and then take it out and use it as leverage for a greater position. It could also require that you're looking outside the company or at something brand new. All right, we're going to take another question here from Yasmin. $10 question. And she wants to know, should I continue to pursue my pet nanny services? Pursuing pet nanny services for Yasmin? I heard you could, but you may be inclined to move on to another type of business practice. Now, I'm not saying you're going to like open a restaurant or go into a bakery or like a food truck per se, although that's oddly specific. The food truck bit. Somebody may be coming to you and saying, do you want to partner with me? And this would not shock me if it hits somewhere between the 7th and the 8th month out. And if somebody were to say to you, I really want you to do this, and you were to be like, you know what? I'm just feeling that more. I don't know. Like, I just want to. I know I don't have the time to, the resources, the energy to, but I feel like I want to. If that happens, you could very well move on to something else and do really well in that. But if you were to choose, so what am I saying? I'm saying it's up to you. Okay. What you do, you have other options coming in, but I also think that there could be some kind of a side hustle that's going on that's a little bit more discreet, less like dogs, and animals coming into my house, and more like I'm online and I'm moving jewelry, or I'm moving candles, or I'm moving t-shirts, I'm moving purses, I'm moving product, out, like shipments or something. And I think that could also do well. So, you're not in a bad position. I mean, you kind of are spoiled for choice as we look forward. But I think that what you could do if you decide to keep the pet nanny services, I think that what you could do is find that you get a big client, and then off of that, or like almost at the same time as that, you get a medium-sized client, and that sets you up, because off of these people, and I don't even know that I mean that they're big clients, you know, that they pay a ton of money or that they use you a ton of the time. I think there is some of that, but I think mostly what it means is that they have a lot of connections. And so, especially this first one, maybe you get someone who's like a local celebrity. Maybe you get someone who's like, I don't know, you know, a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. And they literally know everybody. Okay. Maybe they're a restaurant owner, you know, they like know everybody. And so to say, for them to be able to go out and say, I went on a vacation and I did not have to worry about my dog one time. I love her. Okay. You're taking care of their children. This is huge for you. I think that with these breakthroughs, you may find you never really have to work hard at it again. You know, in the meantime, I mean, keep up your advertising and everything. Don't rest on your laurels. But I do think that, you know, you could have more exposure, especially through like the business cards, you know, and things like this, something where people can grab it. I almost feel like I walked into a coffee shop and there was a board and your card was up there and someone took it down. Okay. And they were like, you know, while they had their scone and their latte, they were like, I need this. And it looks like black and white, like there's a poodle on it or something. So anyways, all right, there are things that you could do. I'm going off on a tangent, but I think that you do need to also not just look at the money, but look at your energy level. So if you're making more and the business is going easier and your energy level is up, that would be a sign to stay with it. If your energy level is still down or it's going down even further, even though it's going better, I think you need to answer some serious questions as to whether or not you really want to be there for the long haul. All right, we're going to move on to another question here coming in from a Lucy Marsh. Hi, Lucy. I love you. I miss you. Lucy asked a $5 question. Okay. Does my grandma Corrine have any messages for me today? Thank you. Let's see what's going on with Grandma Corrine. When Lucy was working for me, her grandma was the first one to come through. And then I had to get weird at work and deliver messages from grandma. But it worked out. So what she's talking about here, first of all, is a red rose, okay, which is a birthday or anniversary right around this time. She puts it a little bit to the past. That may have like just happened right around this time. She's also giving you a yellow rose, which is fun, travel, adventure, a trip, some new project coming in. This is a big deal. But in between, she puts a white rose, which is healing. So I feel like your heart is healing from a loss. This could have been a loss where you didn't get a proper closure. You didn't get to say goodbye. You may feel as though there's a big gap, okay, in your heart. I do feel like this is connected to your sister. I feel like the two of them are together, and I feel like your sister is using songs. She's using rings also. I'm not saying you got her ring, but I'm saying like you may be finding rings. She may be putting rings on your path, rings, okay, like for your finger. And crystals and stones and like rocks and things like this, as well as some feathers. Be watching for those, collect these things. You may be walking a lot on the beach, like looking for seashells or collecting sea glass or some, you know, beach glass or something like this. I feel like she's there with you a lot, but primarily what she mentions is song lyrics. So songs popping into your head, songs popping on the radio. Your, if you have like a playlist and all of a sudden something that really shouldn't be on there gets on there, or something from the bottom moves to the top, or you're like, how did this happen? Or how is this back on here? Be watching for all of that. Your sister visiting you in a lot of dreams as well. These are authentic visit dreams. Her mouth may not be moving, okay, but you're communicating telepathically and spending some real time. She wants you to know how well she's doing. She wants you to know how proud she is of you, because you're just like a soldier. You keep soldiering on, and your grandmother is bringing you like this big heavy blanket. So I don't know if you've been dealing with anxiety and maybe you said, oh, I'm going to get one of those. I think of them as like lead blankets. It was a joke between my aunt and I who quilted a little too thick, but they're like weighted. They're called weighted blankets. So, you know, I see your grandma putting one of these on you. It feels like a weighted blanket, you know, to calm you down. And she gave you some chicken soup. So if you haven't been feeling well, just know, all right, she's bringing in energetically, spiritually. They love you so much. They're really happy. They want you to be really happy. And they're both there anytime your energy dips to give you additional strength and focus on what's really important. Okay. So you should be feeling better if you haven't been the last 4 months. All right, Lucy, thank you for that. A ton of love to you. I'll see you soon. Ashley Yates, a $10 question. Okay. So Ashley wants to know, do you see me staying with my new job for a while and or any health issues with my son? Okay, so I don't have the name of your son, but I can do that off your energy. All right, do I see you staying with your new job for a while? I do actually. And I don't know that, the first 3 months you're loving it. I see you going home a couple days and being like, you know, it's almost like in traffic. I think sometimes we have a tendency to look at as we're trying to sort of escape where we just were, we're trying to push our mind into another dimension, or we're trying to like uplift our energy by like escaping, the atmosphere where we were. But you may have some realizations, about what is draining your energy or how you actually feel about the place or the people there or what's going on there. And I think that in those moments, you're like, that's okay. I'm acknowledging that. I'm accepting that. I'm not pushing it away. And I'm not like reveling in it. I'm not getting over absorbed in it. I'm just acknowledging that it's there. I'm being mindful of it. And what does this say? Ask yourself that. What does this say about what ultimately I want, and does this feel fulfilling for me? And that's okay. Just have honest conversations with yourself and your energy level about those things. And you could readjust them as you go. I think in doing this, it's really going to hit a peak point in possibly, like, I'm hearing the 6th month to probably the 8th month, where you kind of love it. You really have reached a point, where because you're processing, because you're being fluid in the energy, not blocking anything up or getting tense about things, you are finding that you can have more ease and appreciation, more of an attitude of gratitude for the things that are working there. And it's like a kicking manifestation into high gear. Law of attraction can start to work more in your favor. And I think there's a lot of good karmic stuff going on in that environment too that may seem a little off right now, meaning it's not something you have access to, but you can, okay, if you do this. I feel that in regards to your health, the health issues with your son, okay. I'm just stop for a second and then I'm gonna finish this one. Maraid, my beautiful producer, we're never gonna get out of here tonight if we don't wrap it up. So I think, and I know I told you just go as far as we can go. I think we're gonna have to put a limit on this. Okay. I'm sure you have other things to do too. So however you see fit to do that. Let's just keep that in mind. All right. So in regards to your son, all right. And I don't have a name for him. Okay. Health issues with your son. The first thing I'm feeling with your son is a little bit of nervousness, sort of like a fidgety energy. This is coming up to the future, and I can't prescribe or diagnose, but he may be dealing with whether it's, anxiety and or depression, like symptoms. He seems to get very sort of down on himself or frustrated, and he may be combative in that energy. And so it's not dissimilar to when empaths at the 3rd and the 4th levels get overwhelmed. We could see emotional meltdowns. We can also see aggression. We could see detachment and sort of a despondency even. It depends. We don't know what direction he's going to go in. It depends on the circumstance in any given day. But I think that he may be dealing with a little bit more of that. He may also be finding his stride in dealing with some of his health issues in the next, probably about the 7th month out from now, where you could say, wow, he's really changed. He's really matured, and he's figuring out how he feels about himself and his health and how to manage things, especially mentally. And I feel really good about that. All right. So definitely positive. All right, we have another one coming in here. And I just want to say to anyone I don't get to tonight, you can go onto my website, Ivy Rivera, psychicmedium.com. You can drop an email reading. You can get a video download reading with me if you're in another time zone and it's not working out. Or you can go to the self-booking scheduling system and book your reading there. We have a question here from a Becky G, and this is a $10 question. And she wants to know, where is my life headed, career and financial wise? I'm worried I won't be happy in my career or reach my highest potential. Okay, so Becky, let's just look at what it is that you're supposed to be doing. I feel like one of the things that you have a tendency to do is to tread water a bit, especially when you get into leadership positions. And so you're constantly being put in these positions of management or higher up or leadership or training others or whatever organization. And every time you do, you have a tendency to almost backslide or backpedal, or become like a hamster on a wheel. You're not really going in the direction you wanted. And so I think that's an important place to look and stop. Okay, cut that activity off. All that glitters is not gold, and everything that gets offered to you, every opportunity that comes about, is not necessarily something you're supposed to take. A lot of it is a test. And I think that what you are supposed to be focused on is doing more independently with your work so that it's less intrusive on your thinking at night. Here's a good way to say it: leave work at work. Okay, so the more you can do where you are in a leadership position, but you are leaving work at work. Now, this may not always, be literal as much as it is for you symbolic of the way you think. Do you allow your energy to constantly gravitate back over to work? When you go to bed at night, are you dreaming about being at work? Are you always emotionally attached to your work somehow? For the millionth time tonight, I don't know what's going on with you guys, but like relationships, boundaries, and cord cutting class, cut that cord. You can cut a cord with anything: drug addiction, smoking, sugar addiction, porn addiction, toxic way of thinking about work, thinking about poverty too much obsessively, a lover, anything. Okay, anything. You can cut a cord, do it. Have a ceremony on this. Decide once and for all, I am done reverting back, to this old habit that I have that keeps me trapped in these cycles. I also think you need a strong answer to what it is that you do actually want to do. One of the things that's important for you is that you are building more security for your future. And that may sound like, yeah, well, it is for everybody. Yeah, but some of us almost have no hope of that, So I'm saying for you, okay, this is something that you can do in a strategic way from where you are now, having a trajectory and understanding that you can count on that income to be there to support you and give you the level of freedom, that you need in your future. Security, okay, stability. This may also change where you live. And so if you're looking very honestly at your future and the type of lifestyle you want to have, the environment that you want to be in, I think you need to start incorporating that into some of the career moves that you make. I think when we look at your life contract, what we're talking about is you being able at this time to start doing some things on the side. So if you want to keep a sort of main job, that's fine. But what else are you supposed to be doing? And I feel like that's an area where you have not been willing to really explore, other than maybe a little toe in the water or something generic. Okay, so what really lights you on fire? Let's start looking over there. All right, we have another question. Ashley says, thank you. You're very welcome. All right, we have one. Yep, relationships, boundaries, cord cutting class popped up again here. Thank you. We have from RVG. This is a $5 question. RVG wants to know, am I on track to make my career change soon? I feel like my guides are sending me messages about it. I'm trying to be patient, but things have been feeling uncomfortable, so change is necessary. Okay, this is from a Rachel. Career change soon. One of the things you're going to want to do, check out a free mini class I have here on YouTube called Divine Timing, When to Make a Move. It's not just paying attention to what signs your guides may be sending you. It's listening to your physical reactions and cues. When it's time to make a significant change, especially with work and money, you will probably have a dream that your teeth are falling out, or that they're moving or shifting. You may have a dream about actually doing it or being in a new position at work. You just realize you're doing this other thing. And You would also be able to sit with your work and money guide every day. At this point, I would be doing this every day. Okay, with your morning coffee and saying, what should I focus on today? Your guides will let you know 100% go. Okay, when the gun goes off and the race has begun, that's when you make a move. You don't stop to think about it. You move forward in blind faith if you have to, but you do not delay. Up until that point, you hold steady. Wait. Now, while you're waiting, what you're going to feel is nervousness, confusion, anxiety. Did I miss it? It's almost the same feeling of like wondering if your alarm is going to go off. At an irregular time, you're worried you're going to miss your alarm. You're going to sleep through it in some way. You're in that chronic state. Okay. When it's actually time to move, you're going to have more of a sense of peace. So I think that, you are supposed to be doing this soon. I feel like 4 months comes up for you. I feel like, I want to say between the 7th and the 9th month comes up for you. The 8th month, there's a lot of communication about it. And so it already seems to be in place around that time, but definitely within the year. Or should I say by the end of the year? Okay, you want to make sure you've done this. All right, we are going to move on to another question here from a Danielle. Danielle, thank you so much for the donation. Danielle donated $20. So this is a $10 question. I do appreciate it. Okay, so Danielle wants to know, I'm feeling unclear about what I'm supposed to be doing right now in relationships, careers, spiritually, help. Okay. Well, the first thing that comes up is a little bit of a detoxing and a refocusing on your own energy. So I'm not saying you have to get into like yoga per se, or like Pilates or something that reminds me a lot of like stretching and focus, or meditation, okay, or even motion meditation, which can be walking, but it's not going to help if you're constantly checking your phone. I think you need to get into a rhythm that is retraining your brain to be less distracted and frantic and alerted and reactionary to everything and everyone that's going on outside of you. You need to get more focused on you. You need to be more in your energy. You need to be centered and coming from a place of power and focus. If you can do this, everything else is going to fall into place. And you can do this. It's not really hard to do. It's just hard to stay there. And so you have to keep, kind of reorganizing, like recentering in this case. I think that what you're supposed to be doing with, this recentering is taking a lot of focus off of relationships. So I'm not saying, don't date or like shut down your apps or, we're not going to socialize anymore. We're not going to go out. We're entering into a time of, more outward connection with people and better weather and the seasons and everything changing, spring and all that jazz. So that's fine. What I'm saying is the way you do it needs to change. So you essentially need to be more detached than what you are. I want to say that one of the areas that you could improve upon is when you're engaging with someone, don't lean so far into their energy that whatever they do or do not do dictates how you feel. Pull way back. They can come to me or nothing. They can come to me or nothing. They can come to me. I will react or I will respond or I will engage, but from my throne. I am the queen. I hold the power. I will not lean into your energy and get sucked into the tunnel that is your energy, right? It's like a vortex, you don't need it. And I would be careful that you're not doing this with anybody. It's not just in love. It's in general. Paying too much attention or responding to those texts too quickly or getting wrapped up in other people's energy. Using some of the empathic awareness class that's up on the website, some of the techniques in blocking and cleansing and getting rooted and grounded would also help you in this. As far as career stuff is concerned, I feel like you're actually going to have some breakthroughs in career over the course of the next 6 months to about a year and 2 months. And during that time, it may show you exactly what you're supposed to be doing. This could stretch out as far as a year and a half. Okay. It's going to show you exactly what you should be doing. So I wouldn't overthink that right now. Just watch and see what happens. Follow the yellow brick road. Okay. We have another question coming in here. Again, thank you, Danielle. I appreciate the donation from Rochelle Ann. Okay. And so, Mairead, if you could just let me know, like, how many more ballpark, if you could post that. Oh, great. Okay. So Rochelle Ann is our last. Okay. So anyone I didn't get to tonight, my next show is coming up, I believe, in 2 weeks, if I'm correct. Okay. I always do things on Wednesdays, but you guys can book with me anytime. There's a self-booking system, ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com, or drop an email question or a video reading. All right. So I will see you there. But let's go back to Rochelle. So Rochelle says, this is a $10 question. All right. Rochelle asks, Ivy, just sent you another $10. Okay. One more question. Okay. Thanks, Rochelle. What does my future look like with Kevin? Is he trustworthy? And am I making the right decision in building a life with him? What am I feeling with Rochelle and Kevin? Is he trustworthy? Okay. I feel like one of the things that that happens here in pattern, and so you can look back and you could say whether or not this is accurate, but it seems like one of the things that happens here is that this relationship dips real low and it leaves you kind of hanging on a cliff. It's a cliffhanger. And then he comes in sort of white horse, knight, shining armor, scoops you up and says, this is what I'm going to do. And this is how things are going to change. And this is how we can rebuild. And you tend to eat it up. Okay. And you see it as opportunity and prosperity. So he may give you like a plate. The way they're showing it today is like a plate of fruit. Fruit is prosperity, potential prosperity. But what you're not looking at is that some of that fruit down on the bottom is rotten. And if you've got one little rotten piece of fruit, I don't care how good it looks on top, you've got an issue underneath, very much like an infection, okay, that you're now putting a Band-Aid on. So that's going to spread. And there is no doubt about it. Now, what we need to be doing is looking at that mold, okay, that rotten fruit. And we need to say, first of all, why is it on there? Why are you even offering it to me? And is there anything that we could do to fix this? Because it's most certainly going to fall on his plate, okay, to fix it. You need to see if the reason you were given rotten fruit is deception, in which case you walk. And if it was misunderstanding, in which case, what are the solutions? And check to see if he's going to actually follow through with those solutions. If you can't monitor progress and growth and truth and a really high level of what's the word I'm looking for? Not only insight, on his behalf, but a willingness to really engage and motivate it forward without your input or without you pushing. If that's what you need to see. You need to see him having a willingness to do that consistently. And so if you don't, I think then you're definitely going to have your answers. I think that what is, problematic here is that you're constantly getting triggered. And any trigger is a bigger red flag than even just like the trigger itself. So we have to look deep at what those triggers are. And you have to be careful that you're not saying, well, I'm being reactionary because of like fear-based thinking or something that happened to me in the past. Yeah, that's what a trigger is. There's a reason for that. Okay. That it could be that you're being exposed to that again, 100%. So you don't want to blame it on yourself. Like that's not a healthy or accurate thing. The other, issue is that you could be triggered intuitively. So energetically, right, our body reads as an alert system. I just posted the video today for eye twitching. There is some work that needs to be done in this area in order for you to stop being triggered. And I'm not so sure that it's going to come from you adjusting as much as it is from him being more transparent about things and you seeing things a little more clearly here. Okay. Thank you so much for that question. All right. Wonderful. So I see that there are still some coming through. We're going to have to get to them on the next show. In the meantime, you guys book with me anytime. Ivy Rivera, psychicmedium.com. Thank you, Mairead. If we could all say thank you to Mairead for doing such a great job. She's an amazing producer. I appreciate her organization and her stamina. Thank you to Spirit for being with us here today. And I will see you guys in a couple weeks.